I'm Alexandra Cheppa. I'm the Executive Pastry Chef and General Manager of Buzz Bakeshop, located in Alexandria, Virginia, which is about 15 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. in the United States. I had a really hard time as a kid with math. I didn't really enjoy participating in class. I retreated from my classmates. I was just very quiet, very shy, and I started just getting into baking. Like, I wanted to make a cake with my mom, and so we'd make cakes, we'd make cookies, probably somewhere around third grade, when we're learning fractions. We thought, you know what, this would be a really great way for me to learn how to use fractions, because that's a measuring cup, right? So the first cake I ever made by myself, no support from my mom or anyone around me, was a box cake mix where you had to add like 2 eggs, I think like a quarter cup of oil and maybe water or something. And I put it. I think I ended up adding like a cup and a quarter of oil and it was the grossest cake. But my entire family still ate it. They asked for seconds. They're like, wow, this is a really unique flavor. Like, what'd you do to it? And I think that was the first time, even though I totally butchered this cake, make something as raw ingredients and raw material and work through it to completion where I could see this final product. I always wanted to make something special and I always enjoyed challenging myself. It helped me find self-confidence. It helped me with my math. And it gave me a sense of purpose and pride in life that I think is really important. I think especially for kids who maybe are struggling with math or are struggling in school, it's a really great outlet because you get to see something from start to finish, and that end product, you get to take pride and ownership in it, and I think it's fulfilling and rewarding. This is it. We have cute ovens that sometimes work most of the time. Wahina's trying up some bacon. It should be illegal, I think, to have this smell all the time. But we crank through so much bacon. It goes in our quiche, it goes in brunch cups, it goes in sandwiches. So this is basically the extent of our kitchen. It's a small space, but we all work together, and fortunately, we usually enjoy each other. So that also has a pretty big impact on just like the workflow of the day. Usually we turn some music on and tell stories and joke around. It's really a lot of fun. It's hard work, but I think if you're willing to put the work in, you can get to a place where you start to feel a little bit more comfortable and proud, and then you can start creating it for your team, which is where I currently am now. We do have regulars that come in daily, and it's really nice to just start getting a personal relationship with them. They'll show us pictures from their events, and it's almost as if like we know their family. And that's always, I think, really nice, because I think what we do as a career is very selfless. Like, we're not doing it for us. Like, we're doing this to create a really special moment for our customers. So it really follows this like full spectrum of just connectedness that I think is really special to an area that is so deep in a sense of community.
Hi everyone, I'm Alexandra Cheppa. I'm the Executive Pastry Chef and General Manager at Buzz Bakeshop. You just saw a little bit of my story and my back to me. I think about the first cake that I made where I added way too much oil and how much my family was grateful. And kind of the springboard that was for me. It was always very grounding for me. I always knew that there was a space for me in the kitchen, and I always found comfort in it. So even when I was an undergrad, I would come home and I'd bake pies and 3-tiered cakes and pass them out to my floor mates or take them to a party. And it was calming, and it felt like I had a sense of purpose. And I think that connection to something and something that you get to work on for yourself and you can see the end product is so rewarding. And being able to do it professionally means I get to share that with other people. So I've worked hard and made a lot of personal sacrifices to get to where I am now, so that I can share these experiences with other people. And maybe they don't have to have the same kind of hard experiences that I've had. I can teach them the learning lessons right from the beginning instead of making the hard mistakes that I just had to muddle through. Created one of the most, I think, fulfilling careers for me that I could have imagined for myself. Before this, I tried on teaching and psychology and sociology and being a dental lab technician and a dentist of all things. And I just felt like at some point I'd reached this cap where I couldn't develop any further, and every day would be a little bit of the same thing. And I wanted something that would be challenging, something that I could continue to learn and grow and develop as I move forward in a professional career. And I gotta say, like this experience has been it. It's always changing and it's always growing, and things that I've realized are at the core for me are being able to make things that cause connection with other people, doing things that are really special and important, that will add value to someone else's life. That to me is really rewarding and fulfilling, and I think it's why I prefer a bakery setting over maybe a restaurant. Is that sometimes restaurants can be they're still very special, but it's a little bit more transactional, where at a bakery you're making a cake or you're making desserts for weddings and birthdays and Eid, and we're making things for really special occasions, and we know that these are memories created for our customers that will last a lifetime. And I just think that's really special, that you can help impact someone's life and cause memories. And I just think it's really beautiful. I don't know if I have much more to share, if anyone has any questions. Okay, we have a question. How did you get to where you are today? Oh, a lot of hard work. There are, I think, two schools of thought for this industry. You can choose to have balance and set boundaries for yourself and go in for an 8-hour shift and leave. But I chose to grind. I was thirsty for information and knowledge, and whatever people wanted to teach me, I was there for it. So if it meant having, I think the longest day I ever worked was 36 hours straight. But I wanted to learn everything. I still had to cover my shift, but we were doing a project that required chocolate work and sugar work, and I didn't have a whole lot of experience with that. And I wanted to be present for it. I wanted to learn. I wanted the experience. And that mentality of just being thirsty and hungry for information and training and experience, I believe is what got me to the point where I am today. And I'm still there. It looks a little bit different. I'm trying to work on a little bit more balance these days. But I'm still thirsty and I'm still hungry. It's like shifting now, expanding the business component behind running a bakery or some kind of a business, and being able to teach. So just working really hard and grinding and always being open to whatever comes your way. Don't say no to things. That's just one thing that I learned is whatever opportunity comes in front of you, such as this opportunity, don't say no to it. It's a really wonderful experience, and you have no idea what you're going to gain until you're beyond it. So every opportunity is a positive opportunity. Okay, another question. Do you cook? Lost it. Do you cook at home on a regular basis? I don't bake at home. I do cook for myself. I'll do meal prepping. I am a horrible cook, ironically enough, but it's something that I'm teaching myself. I'm glad I don't have to cook for anyone else because I think it would be a shameful experience for them. But no, I don't bake for myself very often. I don't know what I would do with all of it. I guess I could pass it out to my neighbors, but yeah, usually when I get home, I kind of want to just chill or like, go work out or do something. So no, I don't usually bake at home. Um, if you feel that cooking sometimes is a kind of psychological therapy, what do you prefer to cook when you are in low spirits and vice versa? What do you enjoy cooking when you are extremely happy? Interesting. Okay. So when I was using it more for like psychological therapy as just a way to escape, um, I have like a folder on my phone of recipes I want to try or techniques that I want to try. And so when I do feel like I need some kind of just mental escape, I'll pull up one of these recipes where, uh, it's a technique that I've never really done before, and I just bury myself in it. Um, and I feel like I researched the internet to like the deepest depths of it. It just gathers in the kitchen, and I see what I come up with. But I just get lost in a recipe and throw it on, and I'm just like in my own little bubble, and I'm just jamming out and trying new things, and it just feels like a really safe way. If I need some kind of escape, definitely trying a new recipe. When I'm extremely happy, I usually like identify a person who I can bake something for, and then I try to gear it towards what I know they're going to enjoy. Um, Last person I baked something for was my brother. And dating back to childhood, we always did Rice Krispie treats. So, and his favorite has peanut butter in it. So I made him just classic Rice Krispie treats with peanut butter, and I mailed those off to him. And yeah, usually when it's like an uplifting bake sesh, it's to bake for someone else. That's a really cool and kind of thought provoking question. Thank you. Um, Next question: have you ever had moments when you wanted to quit this job because something didn't work out or were unsuccessful? Ooh, yeah, all the time. It's not because something was not because I was trying a new recipe or trying a new technique and it just wasn't working out for me. That's the drive. That's my professional drive. I love um, trying things and getting to it. What brings me to the point of like wanting to quit it. What has caused me to really question my career and my industry um, are the demands it takes on your personal life. I've never been great at setting boundaries for myself. And so I just always feel like there's more work that needs to be done, and I'm never going to get ahead, and I just have to keep grinding and keep doing, and I end up really losing myself in my work. And I'm missing out on opportunities with my family, with friends, and that kind of out of balance between work and life, that is what has caused me to really question my industry. And where I am with it now is um, I know I'm on the right track. I know I'm exactly where I should be. This is what I love doing. but I have to take some more personal responsibility, which is establishing some boundaries and knowing when enough is enough. And I always do the best that I can. I always do more than I can, but also just trying to make sure that I don't lose track of what's important in my personal life. Um, Very interesting question. Thank you. Okay, next question. Could you share your wisdom on how you became a pastry chef? Um, hmm. I think it kind of ties back into that first question, uh, which is just take every opportunity you have, keep working hard. Um, because I believe that the more opportunities you take, the hard work that you put in, you align yourself to being visible and visible to all the right people, people above you, people around you. You know, this is such a small where everyone knows someone. Um, and just being your true authentic self and just working hard and being dedicated and always that you're putting out the best work that you can causes you to be visible and trustworthy. And I think that's a really important thing for anyone who is looking to go on a pastry chef or, you know, management. They want someone that they can trust. And I think just being honest and being reliable and loyal, things that have put me in a position where I am currently, which is a pastry chef operations, um, as well as providing desserts for restaurants. So um, it's really just, I think it still goes back to just working hard and making sure that people around you are seeing your efforts. Also, not being afraid to ask for what you want. I think we're also very timid to ask for the things that are important to us, and it's something that I'm learning later in my professional career. But don't be afraid. You have no idea what could be in front of you, and the worst thing that someone can say is no. So, next questions. What attitudes motivate you? Don't stop and move on. What attitude? Would you mind rephrasing that? Would you mind rephrasing that question? I'm not sure I understand it. Oh, what motivates you? Got it. What motivates me? Professionally, I think what motivates me is creating a workspace where people feel excited to come to work every day. They feel comfortable. They feel safe. I think from just creating, you know, a positive work environment, that motivates me. Being successful also motivates me. I like knowing that I can run an operation that does well, where people enjoy coming to, where we hear stories about how important this shop is, where people had their first date here. That's what motivates me, is just creating this space of memories and safety for everyone, whether it's staff or for the community around me. I hope that answered your question. What are some of your favorite flavor combinations? Oh man. All right, I'm on a pretty big lavender kick right now. So anything with just like a subtle hint of like honey and lavender, I really enjoy that. I also enjoy peppercorns, like using whether it's like Szechuan peppercorns or pink peppercorns, and pairing that with some kind of a fruit. I really like that play on like the spicy fruitiness of like a peppercorn matched with like the tartness of, say, a cherry or something. I think those are right now some of my two favorite combinations that I'm just playing with. Next question. What are your favorite seasonal recipes? Okay, right off the bat, I don't know. I always tend to go for like Christmas and Easter. Hot crisp buns are hands down one of my favorite seasonal items that we make. I don't know if anyone's ever had a hot crisp bun, but it's a really like sweet brioche bread with like fall warming spices and like reconstituted currants, and there's some citrus notes, and then there's this lovely vanilla glaze on top. And then, so I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we have a tradition where we make nut rolls, which is, again, like a really dense kind of a sweet bread with this swirl of either like a poppy seed paste or apricot on the inside. And it's just one of those things that the neighbors all make and we do an exchange. And that's just something that is nostalgic and familiar. And I love having them at the holidays. What is your favorite holiday, and what are your favorite holiday recipes? I still think my favorite holiday is Christmas. For me, as someone who grew up Christian, that's a time when we are all able to get together and we make that effort for one another. No one's working. It's just a time where we get to just kind of press pause on our lives and just really enjoy one another. I would definitely say Thanksgiving or Christmas. I think my second favorite is Thanksgiving, as I just outed myself. We do this family tradition where the kids like have a competition with each other, like all of our cousins, and we have different categories, whether it's entree, appetizer, dessert, hors d'oeuvre. And my aunts and uncles get together and they identify the winner of each category, and we get these ridiculous turkeys. So those are probably my two favorite holidays. At your bakery, how do you effectively manage your team, and what would you say is strongest suit in terms of working together, especially during busy or stressful times at the shop? I really enjoy this question. Working here is probably one of the coolest professional experiences, especially as a manager, because everyone takes personal responsibility for their product that they're making. I really don't have to leave production lists for people. There's just this sense of ownership that I just think is so cool. And it makes the workspace with each other just so much easier and so much more enjoyable. And honestly, I think less stressful. I try to keep it so that I'm really the only one that's stressing out in the kitchen. But there are certainly days where they do become stressful, but usually we just turn on some music or we start telling stories from our past, and everyone joins in and we're all laughing. But I think this is such a unique experience, and I'm honestly very grateful for the team that I have because it's different. I just wonder if I ever left this. All right, next question. Do your parents now feel a bit, quote, nervous when you eat their experimental dishes? And do you have your parents' favorite dish, which you always ask them to cook for you? No, I don't think so. I always feel really grateful and honored when someone chooses to cook for me. I think it's such a sign of love and affection that the last thing I would ever want to do is cause someone to feel nervous or insulted. Um, so no, I don't think so. We, I'm trying to think if there's really, so I don't know if there's really anything that I asked my parents to make. My mom grew up making chicken paprikash. We come from an Eastern European heritage, and so that was always a comfort food for me. It was just this like rich kind of white gravy with paprika and chicken over either egg noodles or mashed potatoes, and that's always really comforting and soothing. Um, but yeah, I don't want to make anyone nervous. I feel really grateful if someone chooses to cook for me. Do I have any hobbies? I am kind of rediscovering what my hobbies are. I have really, probably like the last 10 years, buried myself in work. Um, I enjoy going out for hikes and just being in nature and escaping the city around me. Um, I am trying to get myself back into some kind of physical condition so I can play volleyball again. I played all throughout middle school, high school, college, and even parts of my young adult life. And so I'd love to be able to join the team again. I just have to get myself into some kind of physical condition for that. I enjoy making like little clay. I can't believe I'm gonna confess to this. Clay gnomes that I usually turn into like flower pot, like decor. I don't know. I shouldn't be admitting this publicly, but I am. Yeah, some kind of like artsy craftsy thing I enjoy doing. Do you remember your very first recipe, the one you butchered? Oh yeah. Preparing for this, I tried to ask my mom if she could find a picture of it. To say it was disgusting is like a huge understatement. I definitely remember it, and I remember being very confused about what the difference between a quarter cup and 1 1/4 cup was. It just like wasn't computing in my mind. There was actually a huge difference. But I definitely remember that as the first thing I ever made, and how gross it was. It was like purple icing with Happy Halloween spelled out with candy corn. It was really gross. Okay, next question. You are an executive director at Buzz Bakeshop. How long did it take you to become a leader, mentor for your team? I am the executive pastry chef of Buzz Bakeshop. I'm also the general manager. So executive pastry chef just means they oversee the operations in the kitchen. So we would be responsible for maintaining, quality of the product, cost control, production and labor in the back, as well as recipe testing and seasonal items going out. And then general manager is responsible for overseeing the front of the house operations, customer service experiences, how the front of the house looks and operates, as well as the physical plant maintenance. So I'm really kind of overseeing all of it, but I do have help and probably two of the coolest managers I have ever had the opportunity to work with. They're hungry and they have great personalities and they're just chill. They're just like chill, really good people. How long did it take you to become a leader mentor for the team? I started in this position, so I was a leader right off the bat. Um, Mentor for my team. I don't know if I'm a mentor. I'd let them answer that. But I do hope they learn something. I hope that my team is able to leave this experience at Buzz Bakeshop someday, um, being a better pastry chef and feeling confident in their skill and their craft and feeling like they can just accomplish anything. Um, uh, yeah, I'll let them answer if they think I'm a mentor or not. They might think I'm nuts. Um, it's such an inspiring talk. Thank you. Thank you. What do you like cooking for breakfast? Do you eat a lot of sweets? I'm actually not a huge breakfast fan, but I'll admit on my days off, my favorite things. Um, I am a fan of rice with like so in Pittsburgh we call them a dippy egg, which is just like a fried egg with a runny yolk, um, and then a little sesame oil on top, and maybe bacon or something. But that's just like a really good comfortist for me. But I just am lethargic after I eat pancakes, so that's not like something I do on the regular. Do I eat a lot of sweets? I really try to avoid it, especially the older I'm getting. It's not agreeing with me the same way it used to. I do. I have it or something because I can control myself a little bit easier with that. Um, what are the most valuable personal qualities of a pastry chef, in your opinion? Valuable personal qualities. I would say loyalty, honesty, being reliable, being responsible. Um, I think are really good personal qualities. I also think knowing what you want, and that's really hard, especially as like a young person starting off in this industry. It's really hard to know exactly what you want. Um, but I think just being one true to yourself and um, being the best employee that you can be. I've always acted as if, as an employee, as if wherever I was my bakery, um, and I always took a great sense of pride and ownership over that. And I think, I think that's a really important quality. Um, can I share some delicious recipes with honey or condensed milk? Um, yeah. I mean, not off the top of my head. I'd be happy to post them somewhere if we could follow up and do that. I'd be happy to do that. Honey, I'm a huge fan of baklava, so I think that one of the best things that you can make with honey is baklava because you get to taste that flavor, and you can also kind of experiment with different types of honey, and seeing how those notes kind of come up and come through. Um, Condensed sweetened is I'm assuming sweetened condensed milk. Um, I make caramel apples at Halloween, and that's really fun, and they're beautiful, and the caramel is delicious. So those are probably two of my favorite recipes to make with each of those ingredients. I'd be happy to share them somewhere if we can figure that out. I'd need a little help with it, but we can figure that out. Um, let's see. What has been one of your favorite baking projects in your career? For example, a really interesting wedding cake or something along those lines. Um, so right before the world shut down, I was proposed to in a soft serve part of a food group. And so it would have been a separate shop from Buzz Bakeshop called State Fair. Um, and I didn't have a whole lot of experience with specifically custard. I had made ice cream in the past or sorbets, but specifically custard, no. And composed sundaes, not a whole lot of experience. Um, and that has one of my favorite projects to have had the opportunity to work on. Unfortunately, it didn't really survive the shutdown. But that was fun. It was challenging, and it was creative, and it was fun, and it was whimsical, and it is something that is always going to be very special in my soul space, because I just put so much love and passion behind it. And I don't know, hopefully there will be another opportunity for it to surface again. I do keep pulling up this picture from a wedding cake I did a while ago, where again, it was just a new technique. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if I'm going to nail this or not. But you know yourself enough as a professional to know that you will figure this out and you're going to make it work. And I did, and I was like, I did that. So it's definitely like, there's some very like proud moments in your personal, professional life. Own recipe book. Do you want to write a book? It's basically, as I am going through and doing recipe testing and experimenting, it's just kind of how it's the processes to work through a recipe. And so I do have my own recipe book. I'm pretty neurotic with it. Like, my ink has to be the same color. But it's special and it's fun, and it's honestly kind of like a photo album from your childhood up until now, except it's just like fun to look back on and see like, okay, I did this, I don't know, 13 years ago, and these are the recipes that I'm creating now. It's just kind of fun to see that progression. I'm not opposed to anything. I don't know if anyone would want to read a book that I wrote, but I do think I do love cookbooks. I mean, I think most people in our industry have I think writing a book would be really fun. I think recipe testing for a cookbook would be also really fun. Yeah, we'll see what the future brings. What baking cookbooks or magazines would you recommend? There is. There's one called Ratio, which I think is pretty self-explanatory, but it just helps you understand kind of the science and the fundamental component of ingredients. Of course, this is recall, and I naturally am going to forget them. There's another book, totally spacing on the name. I love it. It gives you, so you look up an actual ingredient name and with that specific ingredient. And I personally love it because I think it gives a really fun like springboard to flavor pairings and like menu development and things along those lines. I think those are my two favorite books, and I'm so bummed I can't remember the second book. Again, I'm happy to share it once I can recall it, of course, when this will inevitably be over. Let's see. Do you have any bakers that you've looked up to or idolized throughout your journey to becoming an executive pastry chef? Is there anyone in particular who has inspired you? Yeah. I am not one for to find like celebrity inspiration. I've always found inspiration in the people those are the people who I idolize and who have inspired me because they didn't have to take time on me and they chose to. And because of the time that they chose to spend on me is the reason why I'm here today. DC, actually before I started working here. And that was where I felt like I was really able to find my style and figure out what baking meant to me and connected with it. I wasn't just working in someone's bakery. I felt a pretty strong connection to it. So anyone that's spent time to teach me, to show me, to encourage me, to motivate me, those are the people that I idolize and who I will forever be thankful and grateful for. Do you have any funny stories or an incident from the kitchen that you would like to share with? Yeah. So I was on my externship. I was working at a resort in Williamsburg, Virginia. Um, and in the pastry kitchen, naturally, we're near a resort. So I was making 22 quarts worth of lemon curd. And this particular recipe, we had to stand over a double boiler in like this nook in the back of the kitchen where it's just like, I don't know, like 114 days, and you're just whisking for like an hour and a half. And I'm finally finished with the curd, the yolks, and the sugar and everything have thickened quite nicely. And I look down at the end of the table and I see this giant container of lemon juice still sitting there. So I basically made thickened, sweetened yolks that did not have any lemon in it. And I had to go to my executive. He was actually pretty cool about it. I thought I was going to get yelled at, and like he wasn't thrilled about it, but he talked me through steps of how we could figure out how to correct this. Ended up putting it through a pocket jet and making this like really weird like sauce sorbet with it. So it worked out, but it was really unfortunate. And someone I still talk to today, and we still bring that one up sometimes, and it's a shameful moment for me. Do your regular customers give you honest feedback, even when the cake they ordered did not turn out the way they wanted to? Yeah. We encourage honest feedback. We don't get to grow as professionals and as a company if we don't get honest feedback. It also gives us an opportunity to make sure that we can correct any kind of mistake that we did make, and leave the customer with a really positive experience. So it's all how you choose to navigate any kind of feedback. But we choose to take sometimes negative feedback as positive feedback. It's a great way to connect with the customer. It's a great way to make sure that you're leaving them with a positive, flavorful note with their experience, and just being able to have the opportunity to fix a mistake. It doesn't happen too often, fortunately, but sometimes it does happen, and you just have to do what you can do to fix a mistake. What is the difference between Chicago style and New York quiz? I don't know if I'm going to know the answer to this. I think it has to do with like ratios of ingredients, the temperature that it's cooked. I feel like Chicago style cheesecake has like a darker top, like a crust on the top. New York style cheesecake is, I don't know if how did COVID affect your shop? Did you bake less than usual? COVID was fascinating. We didn't know what to expect. And so we ended up kind of paring down our staff. So it was really just me and 1.5 other people in the kitchen. Our company did a really, really nice job being versatile in that moment and quickly. We ended up opening something called Neighborhood Provisions, which was an online ordering platform where all of the chefs within our company got together in like 3 or 4 different like central kitchens, and we provided meals. So obviously we provided the desserts for this. We were doing things like slice and bake cookies and biscuits and breakfast items and cookies, things that were pretty easily executable. But we were doing just such large volumes. We were also doing donation items. So honestly, no, I feel like we were actually baking more during COVID, or maybe it just felt like that because I didn't have a full team. But I think we were one of the few lucky people because our company was able to pull together as a group, and we worked through it as a group and as a team, and that was a really cool experience to see a bunch of chefs who we all have very strong personalities come together in one or two and just enjoy the time together, because unfortunately this is just the situation that we were in. So there was definitely some trauma bonding there, but it was fun and we enjoyed it, and we got through it. The kitchen shop looked quite busy and probably stressful. How do you cope with the stress? This is actually a pretty chill day. I'm kind of just like off in the corner. But this is actually a really chill day, especially for a Friday. And it's nice to have these random days where it's just a little bit more on the quiet side. The only time that I think the kitchen becomes stressful is when we have an unfortunate accident or an order that we've missed. We are always working ahead so that we're not working under stress. I don't think anyone really wants to do that. So we're always looking ahead. We're always prepared so that we know what's coming. Very seldomly are we working under stress. I will admit the front of the house definitely works under the stress, I think, more than the back of the house, because they're working through customer lines, and they're working a little bit more on the fly than what we are doing in the back. But it's important to just take breaks as you need them. There's some train tracks behind our bakery, so I'm a huge fan of sometimes escaping to my quiet place and just disappearing for 5 minutes and just kind of regrouping and regathering. But it's honestly not too stressful. I'm sorry if it looks that way. Does your shop provide internships for young chefs or pastry chefs? Yes, we do. It as long as we can afford the extra labor, I don't believe in letting people work for free. I know that that's like something our industry does, but it feels like we're taking advantage of people, and people deserve to be valued at any level. So as long as we can afford it in our labor, yes, absolutely. I will also try to talk people out of coming into this industry, but I will usually go out of my way to make sure that we can bring someone in, because I think it is very important for people to learn and understand this industry before they commit to, the education and the financial impact of the education for it, and also having it as a career. I think it's good for people to know what they're about to get into, regardless of the industry, whether it's a pastry chef or anything else. So definitely, and I think it's important, and I think the people who choose to shadow or work in a bakery before they're ready to make this huge life decision, I give them so much credit. There's such personal awareness there that I definitely didn't have at their age. So I give them a ton of credit. Do you close the shop for summer vacations, or people rotate leave? We do not close the shop for summer vacation. We are basically open year round, 7 days a week. We close on major holidays. So we're closed Thanksgiving Day. We're closed on Christmas Day. I think this past year we closed on New Year's Day. And we close one day out of the year for all company picnic, which is super fun. But we're basically open. We, of course, want people to take time off. It's important. And we just cover people's shifts. Sometimes it's a little bit harder, but it's important that people take the time that they need, to have fun and enjoy their lives. So yeah, we usually just rotate through. Yeah. What are the most famous popular pastries at your store? So we do cupcakes. We make cupcakes that we sell to a local music venue. And we also sell them in-house. So those are probably our most famous pastry, which it's called a 930 cupcake. It's a chocolate cupcake with a cream filling, chocolate mousse on top, dipped in chocolate. It's a lot of chocolate. But it's very similar to like a Hostess cupcake, but just from scratch. So that's probably our most famous one. Right now, our most popular pastry, I think, are the Ted's biscuits, which I know there was a clip of me making in the video that you all watched. It's just a really simple shortbread cookie, but they're just flying and they're delicious. And sometimes, in my opinion, I think the best things are the most simple things. So I think those are the two popular ones right now. Final question. We made it. Your final message to young chefs out there who are singing or need a word of wisdom. Oh, there's so much. I'd say if you're struggling, try to think about what specifically you're struggling with. I would find someone within the industry who you've had the experience of working with that you trust, and see if you could just talk through that struggle with them. It could mean that maybe this isn't the path for you, and maybe you're being called and pulled into another direction, which is totally okay. But I would say start having the conversation with people and kind of talking it through, because I think there is wisdom in conversation, and I think there's a lot of personal exploration through conversation. You're working through it on your own. I feel like you're going to limit yourself. Words of wisdom, work hard. Don't give up on who you are and put things that are important to you in your personal life aside, but take every opportunity that comes your way. You have no idea who you'll meet, what doors it'll open, what you're going to learn and gain. Just be a sponge for information and say yes to as much as you can, without throwing yourself so far out of balance that you're just really unhappy. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to settle with that. There's a lot there. I think whatever someone's working through, people who have some kind of understanding and experience. This was really fun, and the questions were so thoughtful, and it definitely kind of like re-inspired me. So I really appreciate and just being able to do this. This is a really fun experience. So thank you. I hope you all have a great evening, and I would also like to thank the American Center in Moscow for this experience and this opportunity. Maybe we can figure out a way to post some recipes and get you all making some caramel apples this October. But enjoy your evening. Thanks for having me.